Okay. Welcome to the back edition on the cutting room floor. I'm your host, Tony Ray Harvey, and we broadcast from Black Ink Studios from the Greenhaven Pocket area. Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. So peace in. Let's get right into it. Sacramento Kings, hey, they lose a tough one up there in Canada, in Toronto, 131-128. They bow to the Raptors, who were on a 4-game losing streak, and now the Raptors are now 2-5, and the Kings will drop to 3-3 on the season. So the overtime loss ends the Kings' 3-game winning streak in Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Canada. So yes, that was really a tough game all the way through. I wouldn't call it an interruption or a disruption, with the halftime activities. Vince Carter jersey was retired to number 15, and he is so deserving of that honor because he brought so much, to that city, and it really gave the NBA another kickstart in Canada, because as you know, it was 2 teams up there in Canada, one in Vancouver, but Vancouver relocated to Memphis, and they've been there ever since as the Memphis Grizzlies. But anyway, oh boy, tough loss after getting that win last night in Atlanta. But it is a back-to-back. It is a back-to-back game, so they had to travel, about 1,600 miles from Atlanta to Toronto and deal with customs. And then they had this game. So they'll have another game November 4th, Monday, at Casilla Center in Miami, South Beach. So that will end the 4-game road trip. They'll be back here in Sacramento November 6th. Go to One Center, where they will take on the Toronto Raptors again. So yeah, it was a good game. I mean, DeMar is DeMar. De'Aaron is De'Aaron. He had a tough night, shooting behind the 3-point line tonight. But hey, in that fourth quarter, in regulation, towards the end, it was Fox and Debo holding everything together, which that is something that I like to see, because we're usually just seeing De'Aaron Fox doing this thing in the fourth quarter. Well, we got to see De'Aaron do his thing in the fourth quarter, and pretty much Debo, was holding it together in overtime. That he was. So the Kings are 3-3, and that's a tough loss. It was definitely a winnable game. It would have been nice to extend that lead to that winning streak to 4 games, and doing it 3 in a row on the road. So with this one left in Miami, because that's going to be a tough game. Matter of fact, they are playing the Washington Wizards as we speak, and it is 87-70 Miami, and they're in the third quarter. 8 minutes with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. That's going to be a tough game. So, at least they'll have a couple days off before, that game take place. And then the election is on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, November the 6th, they'll be back on the floor. But I done said it every game. I still like what the Kings are doing. And they're going to continue to do this. They're building. They are building. That game was so winnable, just like the first 2 games that they lost were winnable. But this one, was pretty tough. And you can't say, because the Raptors, they played LA, and they lost, it was 134-131, I believe that was. Okay, I think that was last night. So they had though they had home court advantage, they only had a little bit of time to prepare for this game as well. But the Kings, within 20 hours, basically, before they hit the floor, because that game went on for about over 3 hours with that overtime period. I just think that, they're heading in the right direction. They are trending up, and those wins will come, and they will be coming in streaks. And I feel that's going to be coming soon. Okay, I'm not going to be overreacting to these losses, these early losses right now. Hopefully we don't see the same thing that happened last season with those bad losses, because now you have somebody on the floor who can go get you a bucket. I mean, go get a bucket right besides De'Aaron Fox. Go get a bucket. And that's basically what I was seeing in that last few minutes of that fourth quarter frame coming from those two. So, of course, DeMar had 33 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. That's the second night that he had 3 steals, and he got to be pretty high up there. I think he was averaging over 2.2 or 2.1 steals per game. It's probably up to like 2.5, 2.5, 2.6 now, 2.6 now. It's getting close there. So he had 33 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He was 12 for 27 from the field shooting, and he was 2 for 7 behind the arc. He's taking his share of shots in 3-point territory, and he knocked down 2 of them. 2 of them was at critical time, to be exact. He was 7 for 7 from the free throw line. We know he's going to get down in that area, and that's exactly what he did. Played 42 minutes, so understand that, this was an overtime game, 5 minute in the extra period. So technically he would have been under 40 minutes if the game had not went in overtime, win or lose. But another strong performance, 6th straight game that he has scored 20 or more points in a Sacramento Kings uniform. We love that. As far as I'm concerned, you could take it to 10, 20, or 30. It would have a lot of wins attached to it, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Debo. But just a great all-around person as far as on the floor and off the floor, and what he's doing for this organization, what he's doing for this franchise. So I'm just loving everything about what's happening right now. I've been having that feeling since I heard that the Kings was trying to make a sign and trade to get him here, which they did back this summer. So De'Aaron, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 steals, 5 train robberies, 5 steals. And he was 8 for 22 from the field, shooting from the field. He made 8 of 10 shots from the charity stripe, so that was at 80%. But he was 0 for 11 in 3-point territory. He couldn't hit the side of the ocean in that area. And I'm sure he's going to look at that again, and he's going to come back and he's going to be firing away, and he's going to be knocking them down. But I know that's got to be he just struggled tonight, behind the 3-point line, which he did. So you got 24 points out of him. My man, Domantas Sabonis, 17 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. So he got a triple-double tonight. Okay, 5 for 10 shooting from the field. He only took 1 3-pointer. He missed that, but he was 7 for 8 at the free throw line. Matter of fact, as a team, the Kings, let's see, what they were 26 for 30 last night at the free throw line. Well, tonight they were 26 of 32, so they made 26 of 32 attempts at the free throw line for 81%. That's why I'm liking these things. Okay. One thing that I am not liking. Toronto is one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. But they got down in that area tonight. Okay. O'Shea, Grady Dick, and RJ Barrett, man, they was bringing it. Matter of fact, let me bring up that. They were 17 for 37, 45% in 3-point territory. 17 for 37. And I think they're shooting around 25% in that area. So everybody got the scouting report on the Kings that they have issues defending the 3-point line, and Toronto, they woke up to that, and they did a really good job in that area, knocking down those points. So that's one thing that I'm not liking about the Kings. They really got to work on those type of things, which I'm sure with Coach Mike Brown, it's a work in progress. It has been for the last 2 seasons that he's been here, but I think at some point they're going to come around. I mean, you can't stop everyone, but if you can disrupt them, kind of distract them, run them off the line, I think they'll be in much better shape, because the Kings didn't shoot that well themselves. Let's see, they were 10 for 40 beyond the arc, shooting beyond the arc. So they only made 10 of 40 attempts. So Kevin Huerter did not play tonight. I think he's out with an illness. I don't think it's anything to be alarmed, anything like that. I don't think it's going to be a long-term absence from him. But whatever it is, hope he gets well, get some rest, and he'll be ready to go, at least by Miami. Doug McDermott started in his place. So he came off the bench to start his first game of the year for the Sacramento Kings. He only played 14 minutes, but he scored 4 points in that little time that he played. But I would have did it too, because you got a feeling that spot, you want to be big. McDermott looked like he's like 6'7", 6'8", or something like that, so putting him in there just for a few minutes, just to plug up a little hole for a little while, that was the right decision. Malik Monk, 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 40. Malik played 38 minutes. Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. 21 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 rebounds. He was 9 for 16 shooting from the field. He made 3 of 7 shots from beyond the arc. So he was shot 56% from the floor, 42.9, 43% in 3-point territory. Matter of fact, in the first half, when the Kings were down about 11 to 10 points, and it was some little back and forth just going on, but Malik was hitting shots to keep the game manageable, right up until the end of the first half, which we'll get into stuff. But he played 38 minutes tonight. Keon came off the bench again. He played 26 minutes off the bench. Trey Lyle, 12 minutes. Jordan McLaughlin did get in there for 5 minutes. And as I said, Kevin Huerter was out, so I probably would have inserted him into the 9-man rotation as well, which he did. Not much from him. I think he got 2 steals while he was in there. Matter of fact, the Kings they had 16 steals. 16 steals on the night. 16 steals on the night. And you lost in overtime. Really sluggish game for the Sacramento Kings. I understand. I understand with that type of thing that's going on, because now what the Kings will have to do, they will have to travel 2,400 miles back south to Miami. 2,400 miles back that way. So Atlanta, Salt Lake City is 1,877 miles to Atlanta. Then they hit Atlanta. Oh boy, it's a lot of miles. For a four-game trip. But that's the NBA. But hey, Kings, they're coming around. I know how the fans are when it comes to these things. I did get one comment from one of the fans on the X platform. It's going to be one of the worst game of the year. If that's going to be one of the worst game of the year, and I think the Kings played really well considering, the conditions, the environment, and the travel, I'm okay with that. Just win the rest of them. If that's going to be the worst game of the year, let that be the worst game of the year. Let me call it like that. So, yeah, the Kings were. The Raptors were led by R.J. Barrett, who had 31 points. He had 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 10 for 26 shooting from the field, 3 for 9, 3-point land, 8 for 11 from the free throw line. And he shoots around 64% from the charity stripe. But he was 8 for 11 tonight. Matter of fact, he missed two critical free throws in overtime that pretty much would have let the Kings back into the game, but they missed a couple of three-pointers in the last 8 or 9 seconds and couldn't pull it off. But that was the outcome of R.J. Barrett missing two free throws. Grady Dick had 22 points. Ochai Agbaji, he had 22 points. He was 4 for 5 behind the arc. Grady Dick was 3 for 8 behind the arc. And he hit a key basket, too, in overtime that pretty much saved him, despite RJ missing 2 free throws later in the contest. Davion Mitchell, as you know, he was traded to the Kings along with Sasha Vezenkov over the summer. Vezenkov was later on waived from the Toronto Raptors, so they're dealing with Davion Mitchell right now. Scotty Barnes has been out, got an orbital injury, so he's going to be out for a little while. Davion did start. He was 2 for 6 from the field. He was 0 for 2 3-point land. He did have 4 rebounds. He had 7 assists, 5 steals. That's Davion Mitchell. You know, you leave him out there for an amount of time, and he was creating all type of problems for the Kings on defense. I mean, for Debo and De'Aaron, he was. And De'Aaron knows, you know, this kid is he's like a water bug. He's like a gnat. You can't get rid of him, especially when he's playing defense the way he is. He's a really extremely skilled defensive player. We're talking about Davion Mitchell. So I'm happy to see that, you know, he's settling down with his new team. And I know they had a little rough start, you know, to begin with, but hopefully he can help that team, you know, string together some new wins. And it seemed like he's going to, you know, he may have found a home there. So we'll see about that after the season. So Chris Boucher came off the bench with 24 points. He scored 15 or maybe 16 in the first half. Okay, in the second quarter when he came in, he scored like 15 of the Toronto Raptors 18 points when he came off the bench, came in the game. He ended up with 24 points. He was 9 for 13 shooting from the field. He's not known to be a 3-point shooter, but he was 4 for 6 behind the 3-point line, 2 for 3 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and not much else. And he did that in almost 25 minutes. So that's what they were doing. Tough loss. Straight up tough loss. There's no more that you can say for the Kings. Now, you know, we have to go down to Miami and try to win another one. So let me give you a recap, commentary of the game. Toronto led 37-29 at the end of the first quarter. Chris Boucher, who I just mentioned, entered the game while the Kings led 21-20. And he scored the next 12 points. 2 of 2 for 3-point land. Then there was 16 lead changes in that first quarter. The Raptors closed out the first quarter with a 15-8 run and scored. And as I said, Chris Boucher at that point, he had scored 12 or 15 points to end the first quarter. But then immediately when the second quarter started, he hit another 3. So the Kings were up 40-29. The Raptors up 40-29. Okay, in the second quarter, Toronto did build up a 11-point lead on Chris Boucher basket to make the score 43-32 early in the second. Toronto led most of the first quarter by 10 points. Kings stayed fairly close because of Malik Monk, who was 6 of 7 shooting in the first half on the floor. He had 15 points in the first half. Okay, trailing 59-49, the Kings went on a 14-7 run to end the fourth quarter behind 66-63. So they were trailing by 3 points at the half, 66-63. Then we have this long halftime period where the Raptors were honoring one of their favorite heroes in Vince Carter. Now, I know these things could go any way, but I kind of was okay with that because the Kings could get a little rest, considering, they just played a game like 24 hours before that. So, but it didn't seem like it made a difference at all. The Kings could have still won this game, even if it was, how many is it, 10-minute regulation at halftime before the second half start? But anyway, that's how it went. Okay, one of the problems, the Kings had a boatload of turnovers in that first half. That was one of the things that they was having. I would have to say that half the Kings' turnovers in the first half were passes that just went directly out of bounds. Out of bounds, okay? Just out of bounds. At least half of them, okay? But they was having a really rough time with those turnovers. Matter of fact, the Kings ended the game with, that's ugly, 22 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken here. No, wait a minute. 18 turnovers, I'm sorry. 18 turnovers. And also, in my last night podcast, I had said that the Kings had collected 61 rebounds in that game against Atlanta. 51. It was 51 rebounds. So I was totally wrong on that end. Phantom 10 rebounds came from somewhere. Phantom 10 rebounds came up from somewhere. But the correct measure is 51 rebounds and not 61 rebounds. And I did put that in my notes when I posted the video to kind of correct that, rectify that. And I'm telling you right now, it was 51 rebounds last night. But anyway, okay, so the Kings did, they played, they shot over 55% from the floor in the first half. They were 7 for 17, shooting threes at 41%, and they were 14 for 13 at the free throw line. This was at halftime. Keegan had 11 points, Domas had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Fox had 10 points, he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Okay, they were only down by 3 points at the half. Now, RJ had 13 points in that first half. Boshier, he had 16 points in that first half. Okay, he was shooting 50. They, as a team, were shooting 57% in that first half from the floor. They were 24 of 42, and they were 9 for 18 shooting behind the arc at 50%. At 50%. Okay, but that first half, those turnovers, I think it was about 10 of them. Maybe committed another 8 turnovers in the second half. Those were really crucial miscues. Okay, so as I said, after a long retired jersey ceremony in honor of Vince Carter, they got back on the floor. Toronto built up a 13-point lead on the basket by R.J. Barrett to make the score 83-70. Kings mounted a 16-5 run, capped off by a three-pointer by Keon Ellis to get the Kings within 2 points. At this point, it's 88-86. Boshier scored on a three-point play, and he added a three-point play. Scored on the three-point play, and he added a three-pointer later. And R.G. Barrett scored on the bucket to end the third quarter on an 8-0 run. So they were up by 10 points at the end of the third quarter, 96-86. Okay, and here we are, fourth quarter, regulation still. The Kings open up with a 6-0 run to start the fourth quarter. But Toronto responded with a 14-4 run completed on the Oshai's Agbaji, or I'm just going to say Oshai, alley-oop over De'Aaron Fox to make the score 109-96. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is what I was saying earlier in my presentation about De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan. De'Aaron went off, okay? De'Aaron went off. From there, the Kings outscored the Raptors 22-11 to tie the game at 120 on a basket by Domantas Sabonis, okay? Those other 20 points were produced by De'Aaron Fox, who had 12 and 8 points from DeRozan. They just took over, just those two, okay? Towards the end of the game, as the clock was winding down to end regulation, the Monsters get a rebound, and as I said, he had 21 rebounds. I mean, he was just a monster on the boards tonight, and he tied up the game. The game goes into overtime, 120. But De'Aaron Fox and Debo were the key and that was the big Toronto Raptors biggest point spread of the game, 14 points. But after that, they took over. I'm going to like these two in the fourth quarter. Overtime, I don't want to see too many overtimes, but unless they win the game. But I'm going to like to see these two. This is what we've been waiting for. We're seeing these things that we have been envisioning about what could happen with this team when they added DeMar DeRozan, and it just happened. So in overtime, the Kings missed their first 5 shots, and the Toronto Raptors went up 124-120. Okay, the Kings didn't hit a basket, the 6th basket, when DeRozan hit on it. I think it was a 2-point midi, and he was fouled on that, so that became a 3-point play. So they're down by 1 point. They trail 124-123. Okay, Grady Dick, he hit a couple free throws, and a 3-point play by RGB gave Toronto a 129-125 lead. Debo comes back down. He hit a 3. He hit one of his 2 threes. Their trail 128-129. All right, 128-129. Then after that, Grady Dick, he makes I think it was a runner inside the paint, and he scores on that. Then the score is 131-128. All right. Some come down. The Kings, they lose the ball. R.J. Barrett is fouled. Okay, with 9 seconds left, he missed both those free throws. Okay, Sacramento Kings head coach Mike Brown and the staff, they called a timeout. Try to get some things together. And at this point, this is what we want to see out of De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan. It pretty much didn't happen. Okay, DeMar was in the corner. He tried to get a 3-point shot over. He did get a 3-point shot over Davion Mitchell. It fell short. Then they got the rebound. Fox gets the ball. He's out near the top of the key. He's in the 3-point line, just straight away. Air ball. His 3-pointer was air ball. Thought that was someone knocking at the door. But anyway, that ended the game. 131. To 128 in overtime. I'm still liking what I'm seeing, folks. I know it's tough. The Kings are coming along. I think at this point, the good things that we are seeing, we're going to see a lot more in that. Maybe there'll be some more, added to the bag. But for one thing, they have to do is figure out a way to defend those threes. They got to be at this point still the worst team defending 3-pointers, and a team that doesn't shoot well. And they get the scouting report that the Kings does not. This is one of their deficiencies. Of course, that's one of the things that they are definitely going to attack, because in Toronto, they came out shooting threes. They got to win tonight. Okay, it is 4 minutes and 37 seconds left in this Miami-Washington game, and Miami is up 101-87. This game is not over, but I do expect Miami to win. Things could change, but Washington, the district, is having the issues again this season and stuff. But I do want to thank everyone stopping in. Tomorrow, Sunday, set your clocks. Fall back. Remember, spring forward, fall back. So set your clock. You'll lose an hour of sleep, but hey, you'll be at that Kings game on Monday. I think that game started at 5:15 Pacific Standard Time, and hopefully they can get that win down there in Miami before they come back home and face the Toronto Raptors again on November 6th, Wednesday, November 6th. here at Golden One Center. So once again, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate everyone. Still trying to get this up. Definitely have been working on some things as far as the studio. We'll be in the studio hopefully at the end of this month, in November, early part of December. And everything seems to be coming together. I picked up some more equipment so I can try to speed this thing a little faster. I'm still like 10 minutes over the time that I estimated that I would use, about 20 minutes. But just keep checking in. Click that like button. Please, if this is the first time seeing it, or you've seen it several times, go ahead and subscribe. I will be doing these things mostly when the team is on the road, because I do so much when the Kings are playing at Golden One Center, at G1 Center, as far as my reporting. But every once in a while, I'll try to throw one in there. But right now, most of these podcasts, they're not just coming down until road games, which I feel much more comfortable. I have much more time to produce these things. So, hey, Kings gonna be okay. Kings are going to be okay. Please understand that. There's a streak coming. It's going to be tough. Nothing is going to be easy, but there's a streak coming. I know it. I know it. These things are coming together. All right? It's going to be really cohesive here in a minute, in the next few games. I understand that. I understand that. So, in the meantime, peace out.